Growing up, there was a series of movies I was highly prohibited to watch because they were known as torture porn, meaning they had no merit, they were gratuitous in its violence, and God didn't like them. I mean, I knew bits and pieces of the movie because I would see like parts late night on TV, but it wasn't until my recent binge of all 7 in order to watch 8 that I finally understood. Nope, these things are really jacked up. I mean, there's no doubt that these movies take advantage of their R rating considering they were annual Halloween releases until Paranormal came out and spooked them away. But I'm also not trying to defend this series considering that after the 3rd, they just kind of go all over the place.
We're not really into, gizzards spilling out of, somebody's stomach or heads being cut off. That stuff's
Despite the
fun.
sequels of Saw.
Yeah.
But what I do want to focus on is on the ideas of the first movie, the morals of Jigsaw, and the main reason people keep watching the series, Tobin Bell.
It's not just get up and take the thing off. It's how you get up. And so that's why I said, no, I'm lying on that floor because this is my moment and I better do it well.
It was around the 5th movie where they had released a trailer that was teasing the upcoming installments, but over the footage they had the Christian hymn, "Be Thou My Vision." And that freaked me out. But I think that teaser really emphasized the series the most and how John Kramer, aka Jigsaw, has created his own church, a place where he punishes the sinners, he makes them seek redemption, baptizes, converts, and creates his own apostles, and by the 8th one, has created a following that not only mystifies his name, but they're awaiting his second coming. Now, assuming you know the basis of Saw's crazy, and I mean crazy backstory, you would know that John Kramer, after losing a child, after finding out that he has cancer, and after surviving his suicide attempt, finds a new appreciation for his life after being so close to death. It's kind of like the movie The Game, except this one made more money.
This is your game, Nicholas, and welcome to it.
And considering that all of the bad things that happened to him weren't even really his fault, he seeks out to teach the real perpetrators a lesson. And so he grabs the doctors who refuse to give terminally ill people a chance, the insurance agents who get to decide upon the millions who lives and who dies, cheaters, thieves, abusers, and he sets them up in these elaborate plans that he's created with his engineering background. Does he probably go a little overboard? Yes. But each one of his games is supposed to give the player the opportunity to escape if you follow the rules, if you're willing to work with the other players, and most importantly, if you confess. While a lot of the focus goes into the really gory traps, he actually builds off karma to reflect on their own personal sins, such as having a heroin addict go through a stack of needles to be set free, a surgeon having to saw off his own foot, a liar having to trust other people to save her, and a bunch of other scenarios that they themselves probably put innocent people through in real life, and now they find themselves trying to escape it. And I know for those who have watched the entire series, they would know that these morals or this end goal of having the players appreciate their lives gets really, really murky and seems like, Kramer's contradicting himself by a certain point. But like I said, anything after the 3rd movie is stretching harder than MJ in Space Jam. But if I had to defend it, I'd say that the introduction of an accomplice who was once a Jigsaw copycat is the one to blame for the more malicious traps, because instead of following Kramer's rules of redemption, he instead seeks his own vengeance, and so the morals of the game get skewed. You can kind of see that like later on in the years of a church and Christianity, and where you have a bunch of preachers who are really wolves just trying to do things in the name of God, but are really doing it for their own personal gain. Or it could also just be bad screenwriting.
And then he'll come in rewriting all of his dialogue.
Just so you know, the majority of his dialogue and all of his, and I'm going to call them romantically soliloquies, are 100%. He writes them all.
100%.
He absolutely writes them all.
Either way, I see John Kramer as a skewed anti-hero, where I believe a lot of people actually think he's this straight-out malicious villain. Kinda. But he's a man whose purpose is to redeem sinners and awaken their appreciation for life.
If you're not on your way to becoming a veterinarian in 6 weeks, you will be dead.
Come on, this isn't funny. That wasn't funny. What the fuck was the point of that?
Tomorrow will be the most beautiful day of Ray McHale's life. His breakfast will taste better than any meal you and I have ever tasted.
Does the gore of the movie take away from its main theme? Most definitely for a lot of people. But when you think about the real-world scenarios where corrupt, Judges, politicians, doctors, cops, professors, CEOs can play with people's lives, and do play with people's lives, for their own personal gain? It makes these fictional movie traps not seem so bad.
One of them said, they teach you stuff. And I said, what do they teach you? And he began to talk to me about having gratitude and appreciating his life. He was 14 years old, holding a skateboard in his hand. So we must be doing something right.